November 10th, 2025. The sun rises over Brazil, but the air is thick with anticipation and anxiety. Across the country, millions wake to headlines that will shape the course of their nation's history. Radios crackle with urgent updates, and televisions flicker with breaking news banners. The streets, usually bustling at this hour, feel unusually subdued, as if the entire country is holding its breath, waiting for what comes next. Brazil wakes to seismic news. Former President Jair Bolsonaro has been preventively detained at Papuda Penitentiary by order of Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes. The decision, delivered in the early hours, sends shockwaves through every layer of society. Police convoys snake through the city, their flashing lights illuminating the walls of the notorious prison complex. The world watches as one of Brazil's most polarizing figures is taken into custody, a moment that will be replayed and analyzed for years to come. This unprecedented act thrusts the nation into a state of uncertainty. On the streets and online, fierce debate erupts. Some see justice finally being served, while others fear the erosion of democratic norms. Families, friends, and colleagues find themselves divided as conversations turn heated and social media becomes a battleground of opinions. The polarization that has simmered for years now boils over, igniting passionate arguments about the future of Brazil's democracy and the rule of law. Supporters of the Supreme Court's decision hail it as a powerful statement that no one, not even a former president, is above the law. For them, this is a long-awaited reckoning, a sign that Brazil's institutions are strong enough to hold the powerful accountable. In public squares, some celebrate, waving flags and chanting for justice, believing this moment marks a turning point in the nation's fight against impunity. But critics see a different story unfolding. They decry the move as judicial overreach, warning that targeting a political rival sets a dangerous precedent. Interviews with politicians and legal experts fill the airwaves as concerns grow about the balance of power and the potential for abuse. Protesters gather outside courthouses, their signs demanding respect for due process and warning against what they see as a slippery slope toward authoritarianism. The legal and political stakes could not be higher. Brazil's democratic institutions, already tested by years of political turmoil, now face one of their greatest challenges. The principle of equality before the law is under the microscope, as citizens and observers alike question whether justice is truly blind or if it is being wielded as a political weapon. The Supreme Court, the presidency, and the very fabric of Brazilian democracy hang in the balance. In the following scenes, we break down the legal arguments, the symbolism of this historic day, and the far-reaching consequences that will ripple through Brazil for years to come. As the world watches, Brazil stands at a crossroads, its future uncertain, its people searching for answers in a moment that will define a generation. Justice Moraes' order cites Bolsonaro's repeated violations of court-imposed restrictions, communicating with other suspects and defying a travel ban. The court argues these breaches threaten the integrity of ongoing investigations, justifying preventive detention to protect public order and evidence. Legally, this is not a conviction, but a temporary exceptional measure, one that will be fiercely contested by Bolsonaro's defense. The core question: were these violations grave enough to warrant such a drastic step, or is this a disproportionate use of judicial power? The answer will shape the legal and political narrative in the days ahead. Sending Bolsonaro to Papuda, a common prison, not a privileged facility, delivers a powerful message: no special treatment, even for a former president. This act is designed to reinforce the principle that all citizens are equal before the law, shattering the perception of elite impunity. For many, it's a visual affirmation of justice. For critics, it's a provocative gesture that risks inflaming divisions. The judiciary frames this as a technical, impartial application of the law, not a political statement. The symbolism is clear. The rules apply to everyone. regardless of status. The detention of Jair Bolsonaro in Papuda prison marks a profound turning point in Brazil's political and social landscape. For decades, the country's most powerful figures have often been shielded from the consequences of their actions, protected by layers of privilege and legal immunity. Bolsonaro's incarceration breaks sharply with this tradition, sending a powerful message that no one, not even a former president, is above the law. This moment is not just about one man. It's about the evolution of Brazilian democracy and the willingness of its institutions to hold the powerful accountable. The decision to detain Bolsonaro signals a new era of accountability, where the justice system asserts its independence and strength. It demonstrates that the rule of law can prevail, even in the face of immense political pressure and public scrutiny. This act is being closely watched, both within Brazil and around the world, as a test of the country's commitment to democratic principles. Yet, Bolsonaro's presence in a common cell also exposes the stark and often grim realities of Brazil's prison system. Overcrowding, poor conditions, and lack of resources are daily challenges faced by thousands of inmates. His detention has brought renewed attention to these issues, prompting difficult questions about equality before the law and the treatment of all prisoners, regardless of status. The event has ignited passionate debate across Brazilian society. Some see it as a long overdue reckoning, a step toward justice and human rights. Others view it as politically motivated, raising concerns about due process and the impartiality of the legal system. In public squares and on social media, citizens are voicing their hopes and fears for the future of their democracy. Internationally, Bolsonaro's detention is being interpreted in multiple ways. For some, it is a sign of judicial strength and the resilience of Brazil's democratic institutions. For others, it is a marker of political instability, highlighting the deep divisions and tensions that continue to shape the nation's political landscape. The streets of Brazil reflect this divide, with protests, rallies, and heated discussions unfolding in cities across the country. The image of a former president behind bars has become a rallying point for both supporters and critics, fueling ongoing debates about justice, power, and the future of the nation. The image of Bolsonaro in a common cell is destined to become an enduring, contested symbol. For some, it represents long-awaited justice and the triumph of the rule of law. For others, it is a moment of humiliation and a sign of political persecution. This powerful visual will linger in the collective memory, shaping perceptions for years to come. As headlines flash across newspapers and television screens, this moment is already influencing Brazil's political narrative. Journalists, analysts, and ordinary citizens alike are debating what it means for the country's future and how it will affect the balance of power in the years ahead. Long after the headlines have faded and the news cycle has moved on, the true meaning of Bolsonaro's detention will continue to be debated. It is a moment that will echo through Brazil's history, challenging the nation to reflect on justice, equality, and the enduring power of symbols. Bolsonaro's detention electrifies his base, fueling protests and a narrative of martyrdom. Opponents see it as long overdue justice, rallying behind the Supreme Court. The country splits into two camps, those who see persecution and those who see accountability. Political leaders are forced into difficult positions, often choosing cautious neutrality to avoid alienating voters. The long-term impact hinges on how long the detention lasts and what legal outcomes follow. Bolsonaro's lawyers immediately appeal, arguing the detention is excessive and unnecessary. Their strategy: frame the act as political, not legal, and push for alternative measures like electronic monitoring. Many expect the Supreme Court to review, and possibly reverse, the detention within days. A quick reversal could turn the episode into a political win for Bolsonaro, reinforcing his narrative of persecution. The legal battle is now a high-stakes gamble for both sides. The Supreme Court is thrust into the spotlight, hailed by some as democracy's guardian, accused by others of judicial overreach. The decision intensifies scrutiny and could spark calls for institutional reform or even legislative pushback. The court's legitimacy and Brazil's balance of power are on the line. The process must be transparent and fair to maintain public trust. If mishandled, the court risks lasting damage to its credibility. Every move is now watched by a polarized nation. Detaining a former president in a common prison sets a new precedent. Future leaders know they're not immune from legal scrutiny. This could foster a more accountable political class, but also risks politicizing the justice system if abused. The event will be studied as a turning point in Brazil's democratic evolution. Its legacy depends on whether the law is applied fairly and sparingly. The world is watching as Brazil writes a new chapter in democratic accountability. The detention of former President Jair Bolsonaro marks a pivotal moment in Brazil's modern history, a crossroads where the nation's commitment to justice and the rule of law is being put to the ultimate test. This unprecedented act is intended to send a clear message that no one, regardless of their status or influence, stands above the law. For many, it is a bold assertion of equality and accountability, a necessary step to reinforce the foundations of democracy. Yet this moment has also exposed and intensified the deep political divisions that run through Brazilian society. Across the country, passionate crowds have taken to the streets, some in support of the legal process, others in fierce opposition, convinced that the move is politically motivated. The decision has electrified both Bolsonaro's loyal supporters and his most vocal critics, fueling heated debates in homes, workplaces, and public squares. For many, this is more than a legal matter. It's a battle for the soul of the nation. What began as a judicial procedure has rapidly escalated into a national flashpoint, dominating headlines and sparking intense discussions across all forms of media. The entire country is watching, waiting, and wondering what will come next. At the heart of this storm stands the Supreme Federal Court, whose authority and impartiality are now under the microscope. The decisions made here will not only determine Bolsonaro's fate, but will also serve as a litmus test for the strength and resilience of Brazil's democratic institutions. Legal scholars and political analysts are divided. Some see this as a moment of judicial courage, a necessary assertion of the rule of law. Others warn that it could be a strategic miscalculation, one that risks deepening polarization and undermining public trust in the justice system. The outcome of this crossroads will echo far beyond the courtroom, shaping the future of Brazil for generations to come. Young Brazilians in particular are watching closely, hoping for a resolution that will strengthen their faith in democracy. Ultimately, the legitimacy of this historic moment depends on the transparency and fairness of the legal process. Every step will be scrutinized, every decision weighed for its impact on the nation's collective conscience. In the end, what matters most is whether justice, true, impartial justice, can rise above the noise of politics and division. The world is watching to see if Brazil can uphold its ideals and ensure that the law, not political interest, prevails. The stakes for Brazilian democracy have never been higher. The choices made now will define the nation's path forward. And the hope is that Brazil will emerge stronger, more united, and more just than ever before.